Ron, thank you so much for having me today. My name's Austin Walsh. I'm the general manager for healthcare payers and providers here at Microsoft. And gosh, it's been an exciting couple months, but certainly last week, HIMSS. Um, it's been a couple years since we had the kind of energy that we had at HIMSS this year. Maybe it was a little bit of the, hangover from COVID, but everybody was really back in force and we had some really exciting announcements. But the thing that first comes to mind is, for so many years, everybody used to say, "Oh gosh, you know, healthcare is laggards, and they're always trailing, and they're not investing in these innovation projects." And I think that script has really changed. I am seeing some really bold moves, notably in our payer community, but also in our providers, really out of necessity, right? We're seeing margin pressure, certainly in our payer business due to some policy changes and the rescission orders that came out in January. Naturally, we've seen pressure in the provider landscape in terms of increased costs, in terms of the cost of delivering care, whether that be labor or materials, and then those reimbursement payments not keeping pace. So it's like, where are we going to find these efficiencies to be able to deliver the best care at the best cost, as well as that transition from fee for service to value-based care? I've seen firsthand a ton of bold moves to adopt AI to make that real. Now, one of the things that I've always kind of chuckled at was AI is a really broad term. It means a lot of things to a lot of people. So I'll try to summarize for you all, a few ways that we look at making AI real in healthcare. So without further ado, I'll share screen and let me know if that's coming across for you. So the platform shift, is happening now. I think we saw the explosive growth from 19 billion to 44 billion dollars of enterprise spending on generative AI. 75% of organizations are planning to use Gen AI in some capacity. But most importantly, the business case is there, right? For every dollar that they're investing, we're seeing about a 3.7x return on investment. And that's real savings. Now, at Microsoft, we also have the benefit of having great telemetry and kind of tight alignment with, how people are working. So every year we do a study called the Work Trend Index, and we survey executives and users of what are they doing at work? How are they getting their jobs done? How have things changed? And so, interestingly, 75% of people are using AI at work. 46% of them started using AI about 6 months ago. So you might think of this as, I have ChatGPT on my phone or on my browser, or I'm using Microsoft Copilot in some form or fashion, or another LLM or chatbot in some way. But the thing that was really shocking to me is that 78% of those people are bringing their own AI to work. Now, why does that matter? Well, we believe that your enterprise data, your patient data, your obligations to data security, patient privacy, HIPAA, et cetera, that could be a risk in terms of how that information, where does it go, and is it being used to train the foundational models? And that's something Microsoft takes very seriously in terms of providing you a secure, trustworthy AI platform, whether that be pre-built tools off the shelf, semi-customizable, low-code type of experiences, or completely bespoke type of agent architectures that are being rolled out. And so, we're seeing kind of this core five drivers of AI being organization and culture. How does it get integrated into the business strategy? So when they think about a patient services center or a member services center, is it core to infuse these agent assistants that might be doing active listening to a patient calling in for a services center, or a physician calling in for a referral, in terms of internal referral? and applying that AI experience consistently. So the technology experts are using a common set of tool and platforms across all the different domains that they serve, all the use cases that might come up. Naturally, governance becomes a tremendously important part of the equation here because the classification of the information that's out there and how is that fed to certain agents or made aware to the right person at the right time without over disclosing certain information or restricting the flow of information that somebody really should have access to is critically important. And we've invested heavily in that governance layer and platform and tools to manage that, which naturally plays into that technology strategy. So we have all of these kind of questions that you can guide through and review that in our AI strategy roadmap. And at the end of the day, when we work with our healthcare payers and providers and biopharma companies, we remind ourselves, oftentimes, you're out there doing the hard work, caring for patients, empowering your caregivers. And our mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more, right? So we're there to support you. You're on the front lines, and we're making that easier through a consistent set of platform and tools to reduce the barriers of entry to leveraging the latest technology. So, what can you do with AI? How are we innovating to help? Naturally, are questions that come up. And it's enriching that employee experience, right? So if I'm a nurse and I wanted to tackle a nurse scheduling problem, how might I use generative AI to do that? How am I reinventing the patient engagement? We've been talking about digital front door for years and years. So now instead of having these simple Q&A bots, having truly interactive experiences through voice, through natural language, or predictive type of elements around preventative medicine and doing nudging, patient nudging in terms of preventative care type of encounters so people can be healthier, right? And ultimately get the outcomes. Building, these clinical decision support applications or infusing AI into the EMRs like we've seen with Epic in terms of their inbox automation and Microsoft powering all of that behind the scenes. So our partnership ecosystem is as important as our core technology landscape. And so we've been very fortunate and candidly very humble in terms of our approach in terms of empowering those applications, those ISVs, those dominant market share leaders that are providing the tools to healthcare and life sciences organizations today and bending the curve on innovation, right? So lowering the barriers to entry because we know it's not the same as a software company where they have thousands of developers. We need to make that easier. That's been a core focus for us. So it's also important to notice that we're learning from other industries, from retail, manufacturing, financial services, taking those learnings and applying those to the business of healthcare. One such example is our own contact center transformation, where we've seen a cost reduction on the order of 75% in terms of how we're supporting our clients, and we do this through our Copilot devices, and the Copilot and AI stack. But before we go into that, I'm going to play a quick video. Okay. So I hope when you saw that video, you were inspired on a couple of ways that we make this real. So certainly, everybody has their spreadsheets and, Teams channels and PowerPoint presentations. And so infusing AI into all of the, kind of applications people know and love in their M365 environment is a natural extension of that working environment in terms of, integrating AI capabilities into a spreadsheet, for example. So that is an example of how we're lowering the barriers of entry to people who are interested in, working in new ways, meet them where they are in terms of the way that they work today, but give them that next step to just make everybody that much more efficient. But what doesn't stop there, right? Trustworthy AI is really something that we've invested in for the past, 10 years, dating back to our commitment to trustworthy AI 10 years ago. And ultimately, the way we make that real is through safety, security, and privacy. And so we have these commitments around Secure Future Initiative, where you've seen Microsoft go over the past 7 years from, very reliant on all of our partners around these specialty security tools to having a full featured end-to-end enterprise security product set. And these privacy principles and responsible AI principles are equally as important to align around a policy position to empower an organization to know what it is that they deem an acceptable use of certain technologies and what's a not acceptable use. So around, direct patient engagement, around, whether something's human in the loop versus an automated process. Is it a back office function? Is it something really, in the critical path that might put a patient safety at risk? And so the security, the privacy, and ultimately the safety of this information, where the quality of the outputs are used through content safety and filtering in both a general sense, but also specifically in a clinical sense. So, many of you have probably seen that we now have our clinical applications team fully integrated into Microsoft. You might remember it as Nuance, right? Dragon Medical One used extensively across the healthcare ecosystem with some incredibly specific, clinically trained language models are making it into a whole new set of products and capabilities. And so we experience this also through Copilot Studio. So Copilot, in our words, is the UI for AI. It ultimately can be used standalone, right? I just want to ask Copilot a question that might be on web-grounded data, which, by the way, even that web experience is covered by your BAA that we have in place with your healthcare organization. Or perhaps you might want to have a click to configure semi-custom experience, which we do with Copilot Studio, or these custom AI agents, right? And all of these agents could be built within a click from your Copilot screen, or built on AI Foundry. And that's a whole nother presentation in and of itself. We'll go into some of it. But scheduling operations, supplier communications, time and expense management, knowledge management, all of these are out-of-the-box type of capabilities that you can click to configure in Copilot Studio. These autonomous agents that are going to drive efficiency in each element of an organization. But it doesn't stop there. Third-party agents are critically important. ServiceNow, extensively used, right? So now I have a conversational interface to my service desk, to my HR system in Workday, to SAP or LinkedIn or Adobe for my campaign management, which is widely used within our providers, for example. So it's certainly first-party capabilities, but equally important is our partner ecosystem. And lastly is that Copilot and AI stack, which starts with the developer tools that everybody knows and loves, AI Foundry, that data platform, and ultimately infrastructure. So those developer tools are GitHub, Visual Studio, Copilot Studio on the newer end of things. Um, and we'll play another quick video around our healthcare. So again, I love these videos because I think it's a picture's worth 1,000 words. But we saw there when we're building agents in healthcare, it's different. It matters what information is passed to the language model, but most importantly, the inferencing that's done and the responses that come back. Those are citations back to the clinical provenance, to be able to look at utilizing special language models that understand the terminology as opposed to these general purpose language models. So when building healthcare agents, we have the Microsoft Healthcare Agent Builder to guide people through that process. And again, why? Because not everybody has access to these, in demand, highly paid, tough to find AI engineers. And so if we can make that easier for people to activate, then there's more value to be gained. And so this naturally falls within our Microsoft Cloud for Healthcare portfolio, which cuts across all of the Microsoft brands and products, and are engineered to work together. Now, last week, we heard about Dragon Copilot. So Dragon Medical One being kind of that core dictation and kind of transcription tool. Now we can take the power that we've seen in Dragon Medical One and apply it to any clinical application. We've seen that certainly in radiology for years, but now we can infuse it into any application that you have via this platform. This is really, really differentiated. People are extremely excited about it. It has that awareness of, again, the biomedical knowledge base, the clinical relevance, and the integrations to the applications that everybody is already using. Now, many of you are not strangers to the fact that there's a lot of siloed data in healthcare, right? Those clinical records and the promise of FHIR, which we've been talking about for so long. Certainly, we have our own FHIR service and clinical data lake and the ability to develop those pipelines and ingest and manage and store those. I led that business for the past 4 years. I learned a lot. It was really, really exciting. But it extends out to patient engagement data from maybe Salesforce or your CRM, and social determinants, claims data, genomics information, both what might sit in some of the newer modules in EMR or externally. And so ultimately we bring together this data estate and we make that available through AI Foundry. AI Foundry is the place where you have 1,800 different models, Hugging Face models, Cohere models, OpenAI models, small language models from Microsoft, really specialty biomedical models for healthcare, you name it. So if there's ever a question of, well, can you do this? When we're investing in mind-blowing scale in terms of that AI infrastructure, whether that be through our partnership with NVIDIA or AMD, we're able to provide the resources to ultimately build that out. And touching again back to what Ron was talking about as he kicked it off, we really need that data platform to be secure, reliable, and interoperable, right? Whether we're talking about structured data sources like Oracle or SQL databases, or maybe something that might be in the Snowflake database, to that unstructured and semi-structured world of JSON, XML, and having multimodal data coexisting across this data platform, and then managed by that governance that I talked about earlier as we got kicked off through Microsoft Purview and secured by Defender all around. Again, how do we give people a blueprint to go quick, not require extensive consulting budgets, and be able to get value from the information that's in their enterprise? So we have an exciting future ahead. That was about a 20-minute primer, and I'll pause there and we can continue.